All right, guys. Happy December 20th, 8:35. Coming to you full of gratitude. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. I'm going to share with you some of our takeaways from our Play Bigger retreat and really what happened at that event. I think it's really important that we talk about it, share some of our takeaways, and get right into the discussion of the morning. So, you guys, good to see everybody. We're going to talk obviously about the holidays in a couple minutes, but I want to have somebody bring us out on the field today. We're going to do things a little bit different today. I wanted to ask you guys to bring us out on the field, share a sentiment, share a thought, but is there a memorable gift when you think back, because Christmas is right around the corner? Was there one gift that you got in your lifetime as an adult or as a child that really stood out to you, whether it was something that you asked for, you didn't think you were going to get, and you got it? For me, 1987, and yes, I will date myself, I'm 44 years old. 1987, I got a Nintendo console. And I remember it came with Duck Hunt and it came with Super Mario Brothers. And I remember saving the princess was my life, and that was my existence for many months, and I'll always remember that. I'll never forget that. And I remember the kids across the street, they had a little bit more money than we did. Their dad was the x-ray tech and the mom was a nurse, and then they got Sega. And when Sega came out, that was Sonic, and it was cool, and I was like, I still had a Nintendo, but nonetheless, I always remember 1987 getting a Nintendo. So I'm gonna have somebody bring us out on the field. I'm gonna go around and I'm gonna go, Maria, you're here, you got your scarf on. So Maria, I'm going to have you bring us out on the field, share some sentiment with the team, and then share a gift, or maybe it was an experience, a place you went for Christmas that you will never ever forget. So let's go to you, Maria. Let's start this meeting off. Really good to see you. Thanks for being here. Let's go.
Woohoo! Okay, so we go on right before Christmas. So there were two things. One, to bring us out in the field. You know what? I've been really sitting with what is my word for 2024? Like really kind of sitting with that. It's slower now. I've been journaling. You know what? My word is empowerment. I feel like it's not only for me, but it's for me to also empower others. So I'm going to encourage all of you during this slower time right now to really sit with and not just think about your goals for 2024, but what is that one word or one saying that's going to be kind of like your shining bright light or star that's going to take you there, right? So if it's, I don't know, consistency, have that somewhere so that when you look at that and you're like, okay, I want to reach 10 million in sales, is that word going to take you there, right? So that's my taking us out in the field type of thing. What is your word for 2024? Mine's empowerment.
Love it.
Favorite memory. Favorite memory. My son is now 35. And so one of the things that I love about my son being an adult is that we get to do adult things and we're creating memories. And so several years ago, I saved up enough money, and he was in Reno at the time. And what we ended up doing was he came down here and then I took him to Disneyland. We were both sicker than dogs. We both had sinus infections, but we got to Disneyland. We stayed the day before. We always opened presents on Christmas Eve. I bought him the one thing that he wanted was a new pair of like professional shoes. And we got up the next morning on Christmas Day and we went to Disneyland, sick as dogs. But we had the best time. We came back during lunch, took a power nap, got back to Disneyland right when they were doing the Christmas parade. And for me, when I think about Christmas, I always tell people it's not about the presents under the tree. It is about your presence on that day. So yeah, that's for me is the best. And Christmas this time of year is very hard for me. I've had a lot of tragedies during December, but I hang on to memories like that during this time of year when I'm so grateful that my son is alive. I'm grateful that my family and we love each other. And I'm just grateful to just still be here. So, yeah.
God, I love it. And I love the method. I love where you always operate from. You always operate from the heart. And so great stuff, great memory. And I think like it's an opportunity for us today and every single day to just reflect and be grateful because we never know. We never know what tomorrow will hold. And you guys understand this at a very high level. So last night, I don't know if you saw his post, but Will Dangler's driving up to Tahoe and lost control of his car and went over the cliff. Now, before we get into this, he's okay. right? He's 100% okay. He's not hurt. He walked away unscathed, but he literally went off the side of the mountain and, you know, got stuck on the side of a tree at the bottom of the hill there. And luckily he's okay. He got, you know, got out of there. They pulled his car out. But I mean, just in an instant, your life can change. And so look around, be grateful, call somebody, let them know that you love them, you know, because this life is fleeting. And so I'm so glad that our brother is okay. But I'm glad that you said that, Maria. You got to reflect and look at the things around you. Really quick before we go on, Joelle, let's hear from you.
Yeah, I just want to thank God that Will is okay, because he came up to work with me. We were at a meeting, a really great, important meeting. And I said, text me when you get home, right? And then I texted him. I said, hey, are you okay? Because he hadn't texted me yet. And then he sent me all of that right there on the side of the road. I'm like, thank you, Jesus, you know? Like, I was so scared.
Crazy.
Yeah. So be safe, you guys.
Just got back from Mexico. We're going to talk a little bit about the market in a minute, but I want to share some thoughts with you, share some sentiment, because anytime that I'm in those rooms, I have a responsibility and I have a duty to bring those things back to you. Silas, stop. I have a responsibility to bring those things back to you. If I felt empowered, if I saw something big in somebody else in that room, then I want to always share that with you. And one of the quotes that I came back with was, create the life that you want. The life that you want and the life that you have is separated by the habits you are building today. We talk a lot about that in this environment. Habits and consistency was the word that was thrown out today. But I truly, if you guys are going to have the year that you want, if you're going to want to have the income that you truly desire in 2024, it's going to demand something more of you. It's going to demand that you really focus on those habits and what you're doing every single day. And so that was something that was powerful, that was stood out to me. And then another exercise that I want you guys to do, and we don't have to do it all right now, but I do want to leave you with this. And I'm going to turn the mic over to George in a second too. As you guys are thinking about your life in 2024, we've talked about our business and conversations and what we're going to do to drive our production, what's going to move the needle and our habits and our calendar. We've gotten clear on that. I'm pretty sure. And if you're not clear, please call me. If you're not clear on what you should be doing for 2024, call me. Do not delay. Just get on my calendar or just give me a call. Because here's the thing. I hear so many times, oh, when the new year comes, I'm going to start doing that. Or yeah, in 2 weeks, I'm going to start doing that. What are you waiting for? Like, what are you waiting for? If you are not clear right now and ready to go and you're at the starting line, let me go, coach, I'm ready to go, let me go, then you're already behind. So as you guys are looking at your business, that should be clear, what you're wanting to do, how you're going to move your needle. But a couple of things that I want you guys to really focus on is when you look at your personal growth in 2024, what is the goals for that? What is the goal for your personal growth? Is it to join a mastermind group like, you know, the Manifested Ninja? I know a couple people on the call are doing her group. Does that mean that you're going to read 12 books? I have a personal goal for myself. I'm going to read 1 book a month. Now, am I probably going to read more? Absolutely. But I'm going to read 1 book a month and I'm going to apply the things that I'm learning in life and business. Health and fitness. How many times are you going to get your ass up and move in 2024? How many times are you going to sweat? How many calories are you going to burn? How are you going to reduce your cholesterol? What are you going to feel like? What are you going to look like? Are you going to hit the gym 350 times this next year? And when you hit the gym 350 times, what are you going to look like? What are you going to feel like? And how much confidence have you built in yourself? Or are you going to book that vacation for next summertime and not want to put on that bikini or not going to want to put on those shorts because you just don't look like the way that you look? Well, then do something about it. Right? If you have some goals for yourself, for your business, and you're going to work your ass off, you're going to grind, you're going to, be gritty with all the things that you're doing, why not apply some of that same focus and energy and attention to your body? Business, obviously, we've talked about that. Finance and health. Think about this, you guys. Some of you are homeowners on this call. Some of you are going to become homeowners in this next year. But look at somebody like Cynthia. Cynthia has worked on project after project over this last year to create opportunities for her family to create income and create wealth, right? How can they leverage the property that they have to build wealth? If you guys look at this in a very, very simple way, each of you, if you're in an environment within EXP, you have an ability to Build rev share. Well, what does that actually look like? We all talk about, hey, I would love to have people in my organization. I would love to build wealth by having people in my organization. But do you have a plan? As you're writing out your business goals and your plans, like what does that plan look like? There's a girl out in Kentucky that we met with the other day, and she built a Facebook community. She thought she was going to get 50 people in this little group that she built on Facebook. She has 200 or 2,500 people already in her group. She set up an event to host. She thought she was going to get like, 10 people to register. She's already sold 80 tickets to her event. And it all started from her Facebook group. So when you think about my age of attraction, building wealth, building supplemental income, there's an opportunity for all of us. But if you don't have a plan, then you're just thinking about, oh, I'd love to do that. Yeah, my name is Romel. I'd love to have people in my downline, but he doesn't have a plan. How is he going to effectively do that? How many lunches is he going on? How many coffee dates is he going on? How many people is he reaching out to in our community and saying, yo, I'm part of this amazing environment. Would love to invite you to a mastermind. What does that plan look like for the year? Relationships. Think about the relationships that you have. If your parents are still here, if your brother and sister are still here, your kids, I got an 18-year-old and I got a 12-year-old. And I'm thinking about it this way. How can I have more one-on-one time with the girls with just me and Larissa, just me and Kai? What can I do to listen to them more intently, listen to them on a deeper level, spend more time with them? Like, what can I actually do to deepen those relationships within my own family? Silas and I, we spend a lot of time together, but I want to create that for my wife and Silas because she called me the favorite parent the other day because I spend more time with them. But nonetheless, that's she said it, I didn't say it. Also, when I think about my relationships, how can I have more experiences that are going to heighten the relationships that I have right now in my life? And I shared this at Play Bigger. If I have a goal this year. I want to hit at least 20 live shows with my wife, because when we go to a show and we're dancing around and we're singing and we get in the car like, oh my God, that was so good. We're closer, we're bonded. We have our musical, spiritual awakening, whatever that looks like. Like I want at least 20 experiences because that is going to heighten our relationship. And those are scheduled date nights for us. Things. What are the things? And listen, Raquel told me this the other day. It's not about the materialistic things, right? We all want some nice, fancy things. And if you want a Fendi bag, then go get that bag. And it's not that it's just a status play. It's how is that bag going to make me feel when I have that? Is it a level of accomplishment? Is it a level of esteem that I've risen in my life because I have that bag, whatever it is? So what I want you guys to do is not only look at your business right now and the plans that you have for your business, but I want you to look at your life and say, what are the things that I want to be able to create? How do I want to create more, deeper relationships? What are the places I want to go? Are you planning a vacation? Or are you going to have another year where you're not going on a vacation? Americans are the worst vacationers in the world. And I promise you this, I'm going to take my family on 3 vacations this next year. That's just a given. And that's not going to be crazy, expensive vacations each time. Maybe that's one time. But I wanted to put that out there and I want to turn it over to George. George, you were walking. Big dog, I know you're walking. If you can share rapid fire, because my man likes to talk, rapid fire, a couple key takeaways from our time together in Mexico that you could share with the group, Big Dog, what would it be from your vantage point? I would love to hear from you. Let's go.
Yeah, I would definitely say one of the biggest takeaways that I got from Play Bigger was that putting yourself in different rooms, especially rooms that you feel like you don't deserve to be in, and pushing yourself to be uncomfortable is definitely going to help you in more ways than one, because I feel like that's something I did this last year personally, and I learned that at Play Bigger, because each mastermind is different and everybody's different tenures. And so no matter how seasoned you are, how long you've been in the business, or how high at the top of production you are, all of these people all have one thing in common, is that they're still looking to grow. And in these masterminds, you're not only learning about business, but what I learned this past week is that you're diving deeper, because how can we help people if we aren't healed ourselves? And so putting ourselves in these rooms and learning, I know that's something for myself that I took away big time, was that I had all these childhood traumas that I'm still working through, but putting myself in these rooms and seeing those examples that I didn't learn those values at home, that are going to make me a better person, not only in life and business, but to better serve like my clients and have better relationships in my personal life, which is also going to like kind of trickle over into my business. And honestly, just getting uncomfortable overall too, because putting yourself in these rooms, especially right now while everyone's kind of like in a frenzy, like saying our market is hard and whatnot, it's not really hard. I think if you really put yourself in these rooms and collaborate with everybody from different brokerages, I think you really got to think about collaboration over competition and realize that we're all in industry, no matter if you're a lender, an agent, an insurance broker, or if you're at the same brokerage or on the same team or different teams and brokerages, but coming together and really uplifting each other, because that's really what's going to help you excel and grow. Because when you're putting yourself in these rooms, these people are more than happy to share their playbooks with you and vice versa. And it's just a collaborative environment that you definitely want to be in.
Love it. Love it. And you know, shout out to George. Last year, he said, I want to be a speaker. I want to speak at the next Play Bigger. He was able to manifest that. He gave a great presentation about his impact, his growth, and how he's leveraged home tours to build his business and give him more brand awareness. And he did an amazing job bringing that full circle and bringing that home. So you guys, as we go on with the conversation, literally sit down today, and I want you to get clear on the different areas of your life and how you're going to build these experiences, relationships, your finances, your wealth, and get clear on those things as well, because all those things need to be alignment with your purpose. It's not just let's go out and crush our year. Let's go and crush our life. That's what I want for everyone. I want you guys to go out there and crush your life. I want you to look better. I want you to feel better. I want you to have more security because you have more money. You've leveraged your money. You've set up your S Corp. You've done things in a completely different way in 2024. And that's my hope and that's my intent for each of you guys. So let's do this. Let's shift the gears. I want to talk to Romel really quick, and I want to talk to Vernon. Romel, when I was in Mexico, you sent me a screenshot and he was reading. My boy was doing some reading, and shout out to your boys, the Cowboys. What a game. I want to go over to you, my man. You had a moment and you were reading the 10X. And if you guys don't have that book yet, grab that book. 10X is easier than 2X. So Romel, you got a couple moments, couple aha moments, man. You want to share those with me? Same thing for you, Vernon. You're going to talk about the unique ability. So I'm going to go to you in just a moment. So Romel, hit him with it, man. What was on your mind when you were reading?
Okay, well, I gotta address the Cowboys dig. But I'll just say this: just like family and friends, you don't give up on them when they stumble. Um, in terms of 10X, terms of 10X, well, I'm still reading it, so I'm in middle of chapter 2 right now. The chapters are long, but the aha moment, in summary, was just that, man, it really is easier to focus on one thing with intensity, to really jump to the next level quickly. It doesn't seem like it, but as I was reading, I also remembered something one of my college professors said to me way back last century when I was in architecture school. He told me, and I went to an art school, so there was lots of different disciplines being studied: architecture, graphic design, painting, the whole nine. And my professor said, get good at one thing, and so many more opportunities will open up to you. And basically, the 10X book is just reiterating that even in more detail. And there's one thing that I just read. I'm gonna actually read it because it's pretty amazing. If you're shooting for 2X, you probably won't land much farther from where you are now, and you'll exhaust enormous amounts of energy grinding inches forward. There's not enough distance to force clarity about which direction to go. There's also not enough difference to discern what among the many things you're now doing is ultimately a waste. 10X separates the signal from the noise. So you just get ultra focused, cut out everything that's not really helping you get toward that higher goal. And I mean, it was a slap in the face right between the eyes. It's like, I'm doing a whole lot of stuff and I need to edit down to one thing. So that's what I'm working on this week personally, to just get super clear on that. I mean, I'm pretty close, but I still need to edit more, like just viciously edit down to this one thing I want to get done.
Yeah, man, when someone put that was deep. Absolutely. Because if you say I'm gonna grow 2 times, well, I literally can see 2 times better than what I'm doing, right? I can see that. So it's kind of the same, right? I got to do a couple things a little bit differently. But in order for me to go 10x, that means that I have to completely do things that I wouldn't normally do in order to hit that mark. And so I have to think different. I have to act different. Therefore, I have to play differently. And so that's what I love about that. And what Ramel is talking about is like, when you're creating your sculpture, when he's creating this David, that's all he's focused on. He's focused on creating the best David sculpture that he possibly can. And I love that. He texted me, he's like, bro, I'm taking so much away from this. And I'm so glad that you're diving into it. Vernon, want to hear from you, big dog. And thank you, Ramel, for your insight. Reiterate the title of that book, please. It is 10x is easier than 2x. That's it. Really, really simple book or simple title, but the chapters are long as heck, my man, long as heck. So Vernon, let's hear from you, big dog. What are some thoughts, takeaways? I know you mentioned unique ability the other day. If you want to go a little further on that.
Well, thank you for suggesting that book first, Coach. That book is fantastically amazing. Like in Romel's sentiment, it's really about, I mean, there's so many, I finished the book. And so there are so many points that stood out to me there, but 3 are what really resonates with me. It's getting rid of the 80 that no longer serves me, and really honing in on the 20 uncompromisingly. And so from that space, there are 2 terms that really just stuck with me, and they still stick with me to today. Unique ability is one. We all have a unique something about us. Each one of us are made uniquely and differently than the other, right? And so really honing that 20 in on determining what my unique ability is that is different from everyone else on this call, and operating in that lane. But what it requires for us to first tap into that unique ability is a term that I found even more powerful, and that's psychological flexibility. Okay. Look that up. I encourage you all to really delve into a deeper understanding of the concept of psychological flexibility. In order for us to be successful in our unique way, we have to work the muscle of psychological flexibility. And what that means is fairly simple. The ability to adjust and adapt on the fly, the ability to identify what doesn't work for us, get rid of that, and really hone in on the 20% that really is working for in the direction that we want to go. And Elias, you had made reference to Statue of David. Well, what he did, what Elias is referring to, is he studied the anatomy of how the body moves to ensure that the statue really reflected human movement, human layout, and composition to where that statue is world renowned to this day. But he honed in on the 20 and really exercised the muscle of psychological flexibility. And we talk about this art to this day. So how does that translate over to me as an individual? Is to accept, the things that have happened in my life, and implement the ability to psychologically be flexible, to grow from those circumstances, remove the 80% that doesn't apply to me or no longer serves me, and legitimately hone in on the 20. I've grown leaps and bounds from the time of reading this book, and it's led me. Now I'm reading The Gap in the Gain, and I'm on chapter 6 with that book, and then the next is going to be The Who, Not How. And so, yeah, great books. Thank you for the suggestions, Coach. But unique ability, tap into that 100%. We all have it. Let's really fine tune what that looks like while we exercise psychological flexibility.
Wow. Damn, Ramel, Vernon, I just appreciate you guys diving in and then being able to articulate your interpretation of what's been said, right? There's a lot being taught in the book. So you guys, I want to encourage you guys. I want to just push you. I want to challenge everybody to pick up that book and dive in. And listen, I'm doing both. I'm reading it and I'm listening to it. So I'll read a chapter, I'll listen to the chapter, I'll read it. And I was doing that just to make sure that I'm really, really retaining the information because it's such a powerful, powerful read. So great stuff. I love it, Ramel, Vernon, love it. Let's go over, Cynthia, you're here. And if I can, if you're not able to talk, just say I'm not able to talk. But Cynthia, I wanted to come over to you because I was looking at something yesterday. And first off, before I even go to you, Cynthia, are you there? I want to make sure I can get you at least your voice in the call.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm in the kitchen just making
Okay.
smoothies.
So Cynthia, 5 years in the game, right?
I think I'm on 7 now.
It's at 7 now. Okay.
Yeah.
So obviously it's coming to the end of the year, and you know, I'm looking at numbers, and I know how hard you've grinded. I know how much you reflected. I know how much time that you've spent getting yourself into peace. You had a huge project this year. I think it was probably one of the busiest years that you've ever had, like within inside of your own family. At the same time, you've had the very best year you've ever had in real estate. And I don't know if you do that, which you probably do because you are hard on yourself, but you've had the best year that you've ever had in real estate. And so first off, I wanted to congratulate you on all the hard work and all the effort and all the strides that you've made in your business. I thought it would be perfect to turn the mic over to you to tell us, like, what is your vantage point right now on the market? What are you seeing? What's working for you? How are you winning? What's the conversations that you're having with the consumers? Like, tell us what you're experiencing in the market, because you're having a banger year. Despite noise, you're still having the best year you've ever had in the game. So I'd love to hear from you in regards to what's happening in the market, your vantage point, and conversations you're having with consumers. No pressure at all.
No pressure. Yeah. Thank you for recognizing that. I too am recognizing that this year. I was looking at my goal sheet just earlier this week, and I was like, oh shit, if I close this one transaction that I'm in, and it's due to close the day after Christmas, so it's going to close, right? If I close that out, I will have hit my 15 units and my $10 million sales goal. I thank you. I didn't hit my income goal with just real estate, but I did hit it with my Airbnb income also equated in there. So super, super, super exciting. And honestly, I had an amazing coach, and she was like, you know, try and sell 30 homes this year. Like, no, I don't want to grind myself that hard to do that. I don't want to work that hard. Sorry to be just that frank, but I don't want to burn myself out like that because I've done it before. I've grinded hard, and it just makes me sick, truly. So I've just gotten a lot more strategic about what I'm doing. So, and this is going to be unfavorable advice probably, but I cut down on events. I cut down on lunches. I cut down on a lot of stuff that I was spending time and money on. And I just focused on selling. Like, okay, sale. Let's go. Let's grind on just focusing on that. And I've gotten my scripts really dialed in so that when consumers are like, oh, I'm nervous, I'm like, great, let's talk through it. I hear you. I was nervous too when I first bought my home. Let's talk through it. So getting my scripts and my templates on game was really important for me this year. And then the market that I'm seeing and the conversations that I'm having. So the market.
Hold on before we get there. I'm going to pause for a quick second because I'm not sure if you're reading the book 10X is easier than 2X. If you're not, then put that in your rotation. But Vernon and Ramel, since you just spoke about the book, when she just said the things that she is focusing on, how does that correlate to what we're learning in the book? Because she made a clear distinction right now, how she's grown her business by focusing on less.
Yeah, absolutely.
She went straight. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Romel. No, go ahead, brother.
I was gonna say she went straight to her 20%.
Straight.
The 20% is what she's gonna focus on, and that's gonna drive the success of the 80%. The 20% drives the focus on the 20 drives the massive success.
Because what you did and what you just articulated, Cynthia, is that you turned down some of the noise. The events are great. The stuff is great, but you're like, I just need to focus on this right here. I'm going to keep the things very simple. I'm going to shut out a lot of the noise. I'm going to not necessarily keep to myself and be a recluse, but I'm going to keep a little bit to myself right now. I'm going to focus on my skills, focus on my script, go to less events, and look at how that's worked out. So it's like you're doing the 80%, right? You're focused on the 20%, and you're removing all the 20 that was pulling you, taking your time, taking your energy, scattering your thoughts. And now you're here. Now you're here. So Vernon, were you going to say the same thing as Ramel or something a little different?
Pretty much, but kudos to Cynthia without even reading the book, actually executing the book. But the reason, Coach, that you're suggesting that she's had the best year that she's had in her 7 years is exactly that. She's identified the 80%, in using her language, that legitimately made her sick, like physically made her sick. And she was, expending resources to get to a certain point. And what she came to realize, and however she was led to that point, is the 80% of things that she thought she was doing that was going to produce 10x really only produced 2x. And once she removed those and focused on exactly what it is that she wanted to do, which was sell, 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 here we are having the conversation that she's had the best year that she's had in 7 years. So right on to you. You're proud of you, girl.
Amen. And so, Cynthia, so let's look at these cities. So, Vallejo, Richmond, Walnut Creek, Pleasant Hill, Martinez, Rodeo, Concord, Vallejo, Sacramento, Richmond, Pacheco, Walnut Creek, Hercules, and Fairfield. Those were all the sales that you had this year thus far. And you have one pending in Oakland right now. So, you've been all over the map. So, tell us about what you're seeing, what you're experiencing in the market.
Yeah. So, it got fiery hot in the last in the last week, I'll say. So I'm partnering with an agent out here, and we have a client that's ready, hot, and ready. But he wasn't listening to our advice and lost out on 2 opportunities. So the reason that he lost out was undecisiveness on like one day. One day is all it took for these homes to fly off the market. So in Concord, there were 2 homes across the street from each other. And we were like, cool, this one's like rated 10 out of 10 for our client. This one's rated like a 7 out of 10. Let's go right on this 10 out of 10. We're going to get you in there. The house had been on the market for like 50 days. We're like, we're going to get you in there. Here, we negotiated 30 grand under the asking price. Like, we wrote up the contract. Let's go, dude. Crickets. So then he texts us, hey, there's an open house. Yeah, no shit, dude, because you didn't sign the offer. So what happened was he lost out on that 10 out of 10 house. And now he's like, well, let's move to the 7 out of 10 house. And we're like, do you want that house? Do you want that house? And he's like, no, not really. Well, that went pending too. So he had 2 places where he could have gotten in, and he realized that it's his indecisiveness. But the thing is, you guys, the reason I'm bringing up those 2 homes is because they'd been on the market for a hot minute. And within this last week, boom, they each had 3 offers on them. Same thing here in Martinez. There was a house that sat on the market for like 50 days. We went in, we wrote our offer. 5 other offers. So the market, when we used to say, when agents way back in the day were like, oh, spring market, that's when things heat up. Nah, dog, nah. The last 2 years, it's been January. This year, we're already in it. I'm seeing that we're already in it. And 2 clients reach out this week saying, we don't want to wait till January. Let's get a head start. And I'm like, thank you, Jesus, because here, let me explain to you, clients, this is what I'm seeing already. And yeah, there's limited inventory, but we can still go try and get some deals on these homes that have been sitting on the market for 50 days. But you need to be aggressive and decisive with our offers. So it's about coaching our clients to say, look, you can't wait. I know you think that you've got the leisure time of waiting because it's the winter holidays. No, that's not it. We have to jump on things quickly. So that's Concord, Martinez, Vallejo, and Benicia. I'm still feeling are pretty soft. There's still so much on the market out there. Walnut Creek, Lafayette. They're typically going to sell pretty quickly. Oakland, we just got into a house where the sellers bought it last year for 630,000. I got my clients in there 610,000 with like $8,000 in closing cost credits. So there's still deals out there for those buyers that are like hot to trot, ready to go. It's just about explaining to them, when we get out there, we gotta act quick because we're at the beginning lineup of the stampede, and let's get in there before they open the gates, before we start seeing that stampede just passing us by again.
God, I love how you've articulated this, and it takes me back to I was listening to something the other day. Oftentimes, the consumer doesn't necessarily know when we say buyer's consultation. Now, obviously, we've trained and coached you guys on how to do a buyer's consultation, what to do in a buyer's consultation, but I believe that a buyer's consultation is more of a strategy session, right? It's like, hey, Mr. Consumer, I want to make sure that you and I have some time so we can really go over the strategy and what it's going to take to win in this really competitive market. It's not about lollygagging. It's not about sissyfooting. It's not about not saying the things that might rumble their feathers a little bit, whatever that is. It's about helping them get clarity on everything that's happening and the reality of the market, sharing the comps, sharing the data, sharing how many houses are pending, what are the how many offers were on each of those homes, and like making sure that they know that the strategy needs to be aggressive, right? The strategy needs to be particularly in some of these hot communities in the Bay Area, and understand that these are microclimates. And so, Cynthia, you do a really good job at like helping them understand that, hey, whatever you're thinking about right now, or you want to wait, so let me share with you how that's going to hurt you and how that's not the best strategy, and helping them bring them back home. You do a really good job at being their lighthouse and their beacon by just educating them and keeping it real. So, man, I love it. So, Cynthia, if you were to dive into your database right now, if maybe you have an agent on the team right now that is struggling or finding an opportunity in their database, knowing what you've experienced in the last couple of deals, what would you advise them to do within their database right now?
Go into Real Scout. Real Scout is your Amazon. And you can see what people have put in their cart, right? They're interested. Go in there and see what they've hit interested on. Take not those homes, okay? Yeah, that's great that they interested those homes. Hit them up about those. But do a deep dive into the MLS for homes that have been sitting on the market for a while that haven't had recent price reductions. Send them those deals and say, hey, client, I have got such a good deal for you. Here is 123 Main Street. It's been on the market 50 days. I think we can get it for you at a really great deal. When do you want to go take a look at it? Send it directly in a text message to their phone, because here's what people are looking to us for, guys, to sell them a house, right? Like, they don't need another news article. Great, send them a news article. If you haven't hit them up in a long time, that's great too, but they're looking for us to send them homes. So send them a home to look at. Send them a few homes on Real Scout. So in your computer, what you can do, because sorry, Elias, I know this is taking a minute, but
okay.
So in Real Scout on your computer, instead of just sending it from Real Scout, what you should be doing is there's a link that says copy link to see client experience or something like this, right? Click that and send them that link. That way, they're getting it through text message, not an email, because you know how consumers are. They're going to read text more often than email. So send it to them in a text message. And then let them take a look at it. And then it'll pop up in your Real Scout. Oh, they looked at 123 Main Street. Text them back when you see that. Hey, I saw that you opened that property. What did you guys think about it? When do you want to go take a look? Because if you're not asking those open-ended questions, they're just like, cool, Cynthia sent me a house. You have to open that dialogue up.
Totally. God, I love that. You guys can automate yourself right out of a relationship. You can automate yourself right out of a negotiation, because obviously the system's going to work for you and it's going to send the client. But to go further in there, be like, is there any properties that match this? Is there any properties that are like this? Is there a property that is maybe a fixer, a cosmetic fixer that fits in that same bubble that's been sitting? Those are great opportunities for your consumers. So it's one thing to have the computer do its job, but like if they're actively looking every single day, all of you have those people. That's why all conversations, all leads that you get from open houses, every single person that you're meeting that's considering buying a home, route them through Follow Boston Real Scout that we can see their analytics. Now, like Cynthia was saying, if they're looking, right? They either don't have a life and they're just really bored, or they're actually thinking about buying a home in the next couple of months, which I believe that that's where they are. It's our responsibility to say, hey, Tom, I have this, I have this, I have this. I'm setting up my tours for tomorrow. What time do you want to go see it? I'm not taking time off from now until Christmas Day. So I'm still setting up tours. This is a great opportunity for you guys to build urgency. So Cynthia, well put. Otis, you've had your hand up for a second. Let's go over to you. Thoughts about the market, where it's at. What are you seeing? Let's hear from you.
I just want to piggyback on what Cynthia just said. Like I can listen to her speak every day. I really do believe when she was part of the management that she helped me out in so many ways. So I just want to send that to Cynthia. And her fucking year, killing it. I mean, our goals were similar, and I just didn't find that out until right now. Like what she wanted to hit was 10 million, and she mentioned one of the biggest key facts was not getting burnt out. I feel like maybe around the end of summer, like June, I hit a good plateau of things that I wanted to hit as far as my goals. Hitting that top producer dinner was like one of my biggest things besides the 5 million in volume at the time. So I felt like, all right, I'm here, but I got burnt out. Psychologically, I didn't know it until maybe 2 months after the fact, but it just slowly started draining me. And I think just until maybe about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, to where I started building back up some more steam. I had about like 7 deals ready to go, 4 that was getting ready to be in contract. Out of those 4, 2 went into contract, didn't win. So I remember Elias saying something that you could do 60,000, and that was like my 40,000 right there, but it didn't come because people started getting cold feet. The market, rates started shooting up there. So it took me some time to readjust. But another thing she said is, quieting all the noise. Like she had to take herself away. And as you know, she's someone who's really big on events, really big in being around and helping the team and doing things. So I think me going back into my shell, figuring out what I needed to do to ramp things up. And then obviously fucking, it just kills me that I just fucking tore my Achilles, but I ain't gonna let anything stop me. It is the point where agents do take off a lot. I've been getting people not even wanting to help out with showings because they said that they're off or it's just not a good time for them. I think that this is the time that you should be really waking your game up and getting into business, because if you're taking a break now, there's someone like me who's hopping out there on one leg and to go get all your business. So don't make any excuses. Get out there and get it, and make sure you start to look at what works for you. I know we're all part of a big team, but you're your own boss and your own person in your own business. So you need to figure out what works for you. And Cynthia is a big prime example of that, because look at what she did. She hit all of her goals. So big ups to her, and anybody out there that's going to be doing any type of business in Richmond or anytime out Solano, holler at me, because obviously I can't walk or I can't drive. So I do need some help. And I just want to say thank you for the team, because you guys are always some big part of my business that I can give back to and be helped at the same time. So I appreciate everybody.
I love it. And hashtag limp into listings, right? I just wrote this down, limp into listings. All right. When you think about the season that we're in and the season that we're going into, this is separation season. I'm so glad that Otis is talking about this. You have to look at your skills right now. You have to look at your behaviors, your habits, and you have to say, what is going to separate me in 2024? How am I going to stand out? How am I going to be different? The only way that that's going to happen is that you are doing only the things that you can do. There's things that we all can do, but there's only one Vernon. There's only one Otis. There's only one Dominique. There's only one Cynthia. There's only one Heidi. As long as you're doing that and you're amplifying that, you guys, things will start to come full circle for you. And then another thing, when Cynthia was talking about it, when we talked about our finance and wealth for the year, I'm sure that her and Mark have a plan that, hey, if we are able to book our Airbnbs for X amount of times throughout the year, there's going to be a time, probably in the next year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever that looks like for them, where they're finally whole. Meaning that the money they invested into the property, they finally made back. And now what are they making? They're making profit. That's part of their plan already. They probably already know how many times they got to rent it out at X amount in order for them to be whole. That is an opportunity for them. With all the new laws changing with ADUs, if you guys have properties, you guys need to start thinking about this. Talk to Cynthia, talk to Dan, talk to Roxanne, who all 3 of them in the last year have built ADUs on their existing properties, you guys. that's a huge opportunity for you. So maybe it's not rev share, maybe it's building wealth in the incomes that you, or the properties that you already have. So love this. Great job, Cynthia. Great job, Otis. I appreciate your contributions. Dominique, Curtis, I knew you'd get your hand up. Let's go to you, and then we'll come to Ashley or anybody else who wants to talk about the market, and then we'll wrap. Let's go, Dominique.
Yeah, so touching back on the market, the homes that have been on the market for, I would say 40 plus days, they're going fast, really fast. People are jumping on them, and they're not necessarily going under asking. A lot of the agents are starting to put that as transparent pricing. So in other words, if you're going to come and write on it, write with intent, and write, more aggressive than what they think they should write coming in 60 days on the market. So I've got, since this week, I've had 5 appraisals come in. I'm actually at one right now in Bay Point, and it's been on the market for 50 days. And it came in at asking. So things are getting ate up, and 3 out of the 5 have been on the market for more than 40 days.
Wow. So, okay, so you're at Bay Point right now?
Bay Point, yes.
Wow, incredible. I love it. I love it. Great stuff. And by the way, I'm still hearing so much great stuff about your appraisal talk event. I can't wait to see the next one or be at the next one. Good stuff.
Thank
Ashley,
you.
let's hear from you. I know you're in the car, but you always have something to share about the interest rates, the market, what's happening, patterns, nuances, things like that. Let's hear from you.
Good morning. I'm just going to pop this into the chat right now. The market is in a beautiful place. There we go. So as you can see, for the last 5+ weeks, the bond market has been going up and up and up, which means interest rates has been going down, down, down. So if you guys remember, there was that news article that came out that said the Fed's going to reduce interest rates 6 times. That was actually the market kind of gambling on it. And I didn't think the Fed would ever come out and actually say that, because usually they don't do that, because when they do, a huge dip happens. And this last Fed meeting, they came out and said it. They said on their dot plot, they said, we are predicting that we are going to actually cut rates 3 times next year. So that's when we had that big drop in rates. If you can click into that picture, there's that big green line. The day that they said that, rates went down. From Thanksgiving, I had a client that was like it was like 7.6 something. And then by now they're at 6.5. So the people who couldn't get approved for their approval amounts they wanted to, they're out shopping now. The people who didn't like the payments, but maybe do now, they're out shopping now. But on the other side, I am personally seeing still seller credits, mostly Antioch, Pittsburgh area. And the last 7 contracts in the last 4 weeks that I've seen all have seller credits still on it. So obviously still do your market research in your market. But to me, this is a magical market. I mean, interest rates are down and we can do 1 buy downs. I don't know how long that's going to last. So I would just say, if you have anybody that is shopping, have them speak to a lender, have them look at numbers right now. Because if you're not, you're kind of doing them a disservice, because if they wait too much longer, those seller credits are going to go away. They're going to have to come in with closing costs, and it's going to be a whole different market. Right now is so magical. I'm seeing all kinds of great things happening.
Well, beautiful. I appreciate the update. Appreciate the report. Check that out. It's in the chat below. Crispy, let's hear from you, big dog.
Yeah, I love this whole conversation and what Cynthia got into. I'm noticing changes already right now, as far as going back to the sales rep as the new home builds and letting them know you still got this deal going on. They're like, only if you bring me a buyer this year, it's going away next year. So you can hear that. So it's up to us. We always talk about bringing clarity in our business, but where's the clarity in your buyer's mindset on what they're going to strategize to do right now in the winter before the spring comes and they're going to be asked out? So what I'm doing a lot, we're in the office yesterday with Sophia and Maria. I'm just texting my buyers, letting them know, well, here's what's going on. Here's what's going on. Just basically just reiterating what I'm hearing from all these influencers early before the mainstream media gets to it and it becomes a frenzy. So when you're bringing them this information right away, tactfully, they're just like, whoa, you're spitting some game to me, Chris. Like, this is great. So I went out and showed $2 million homes to a buyer. I dropped by her business in Folsom like a week ago and just, hey, Rosanna, what's up? Oh, you're working today. You know, she owns a successful business, Vampire Penguin, that does like shaved ice. And she's like, we broke bread. She served me and Sophia shaved ice. She was like, Chris, I finally finalized my divorce. I got about $500,000. Let's go. You know, and I told her, we need to go now. I know you've been timid, but now it's go time. I'm showing her houses. I showed her $2 million homes last week. And this Friday, I already have a preset home that I found that fit all her needs. I've given 5.75 rate and a 2% seller credit. I already dropped her a text. We can go see it Friday. Another buyer from an open house, I dropped him a text yesterday and said, the property that you're looking at, I just called the agent. She straight up told me her bottom line, Chris, come 60 grand under. We need to make this happen. So it's like, when you're just connected with these listing agents, with the sales reps, they're letting you know what's going on. They want to sell the home as much as you want your client to buy it. And they're not leveraging you right now. It's the winter. They don't have nobody looking at their stuff. So they're going to tell you what you need to hear. So you just got to reiterate that to your database, to your leads, to your clients, and give them that sense of urgency and let them know what's really going on. You know, I pride myself on being the non-pushy salesman, and my clients love me for that. But when it's time to push, you better down push and empower them, because now's the time. These next 6 months, I predict you can make double the volume you made last year in 1 year, these next 6 months, because of where the market's coming. It's election year. You need to let everybody know that during the election year, the powers that be artificially make shit look better so that there's opportunity for you to get in and get what you can. So take advantage of this opportune time, set expectations right for your clients and leads, and just let them know that we're here to make things happen for them. Because believe me, there's people on the sidelines right now. Are you going to give them clarity in their mindset, or are you going to let another agent do that because your ass lax during the winter and not want to work? So right now, I'm just doing strategic texts, calls, and just making shit happen. And, you know, I'm ready to make it happen, y'all. And I want to see you guys make it happen too.
Yeah, I absolutely love this. I'm going to share this with everyone on this call. Welcome to the world of coaching. And I'm not saying me or us coaching you. You are a coach, and you're a coach in your client's corner. You are that person that's helping shape their mindset, helping them have clarity on the road ahead. The things that we talk about here, when we're talking about your business plan, your clarity, and the vision for your life, isn't it the same for you and how you're communicating with your consumers? It's the exact same thing. But if you buckle, if you, maybe if you, just call me then, right? No, here's my conviction. And here's why it's so important based on what you've told me. And this is why we have to act now. And please look at this as only me passionate about helping you achieve the things that you told me were important to you. So let's go, let's move, let's make that happen, right? So welcome to the world of coaching. You are a coach to your consumers. They are leaning on you for guidance, for support, for encouragement, for confidence. You have to be that person. So Chris, I'm so glad that you said that. I'm so glad that you articulated that. Love it. And congratulations on such a great year for you. Let's go, Jessica, and then we're about to wrap.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. So I'm currently in a situation where I'm working with one of my uncles, and we're in the middle of getting him pre-approved, but we were told that we can start looking at houses and he's on a Real Scout every single day looking at houses. And when I reach out to him and I let him know, like, hey, I seen that you saw this property, you know, when are you available to go take a look at it? I'm available this day, that day. And he doesn't text back, you know, so I've told him, you know, like, oh, we have to move, you know, interest rates went down. There's going to be a lot of competition. And all he says is, oh, okay, yeah. Well, I'm not really, like if I find something, you know, then I want to put in an offer, but I'm not really in a hurry. But I see him on Real Scout every single day looking, you know, so it's kind of tricky because, you know, like I'm explaining to him that, you know, there's a window of opportunity, but I don't know if he's that serious about moving forward or not, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I'm seeing the hands go up. I don't know if we have time to address this the way that it needs to be addressed, but here's my advice to you, and I'll hear from Otis and Ramel. Do your very best to say, listen, Uncle, I know that you want to wait, whatever his story is. I think it's important you at least see some properties. And listen, go out there, see what you like about the neighborhood, see what you like about the houses. Let's figure out your style, what kind of rooms that you like. Do you like stairs? Do you not like stairs? What do you think about the landscape? And I think it's important that you at least go out there and see the properties. Now, obviously, I'm here to work in your time frame, but I'm here to also share with you the reality of the market. But let's at least go see some properties so you can see what you actually like in a home, and maybe something changes there. But I'd love to hear from Romel and Otis, and then we got to wrap on this session. And Jessica, you and I can talk a little bit later and have a little bit more dialogue on this, but I want to respect everybody's time. Romel.
Just a quick one. Not the noise, focus on the melody.
Otis, quick rapid fire, my man.
Jessica, I sold one to my mom. It was probably one of my hardest deals with hardest client, but with those ones, you can be a little bit more honest and a lot more aggressive with, because they're family. Just keep it real with them and put it on his plate, and I guarantee you, you guys will come to some type of compromise.
Thank you.
Because he also has to see you as not as his little niece, right? It's hard. He might view you as his little niece, and you're working through that, but you got to let him know that, hey, you are now the professional, you are now the expert, and you know how this is going to help him and his family. So I love that he's trusting you nonetheless. But you guys, we got to cut out. I want to hear from one person. Maddie, you want to go to you? I want to put you on the spot really quick. Maddie, I love the lights in the background. Let me hear one key takeaway from our time together. She's a guest of ours today from the Lodi area. Maddie, what's one key takeaway from our time together?
Just to really push yourself, basically. Like, you're not going to get anywhere in your comfort zone.
Yeah. You're welcome to keep it moving. So you guys, really great session today. I appreciate all of your insights, all of your thoughts. Remember, go back to the early conversation of looking at all the things in your life and how you're going to plan out your health, your fitness, your relationships, your experiences, as well as the things, as well as your finance, as well as your wealth. And let's start building 2024 in a very different way. So I appreciate you guys. And as always, keep it moving towards your dreams, goals, and vision, and go out there and crush your week. And Merry Christmas if I don't talk to you guys. Peace.